Hello, friends, and welcome to the Noclip podcast episode. Boy, if I could check the internet right now and find out, Jeremy. 50, what do you think? 56, 57?
I like 57 seems like a lucky number.
Okay, let Jesse can just say episode, and Jesse's voice comes in here and says it. Hey, welcome to the Noclip podcast episode
60.
And here we are coming at you live, definitely not live. Apologies from the wind, but we're recording this in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
Listen, we have an entire Jeep blocking the wind as best we can, but beyond that, this is the powers of nature, and we can do nothing to stop them.
Let's paint a picture for the folks at home. We are in the Mojave Desert, which if you've played Fallout New Vegas, you're very aware of.
Yeah.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
It's what is it? It's desert, it's brush.
Yeah, it's we got some cacti, some rocks. There's a little fire ring left by previous inhabitants full of spent cigarettes and eggshells.
Yummy.
My favorite breakfast. And yeah, it's very, very dry and very windy and hot. And we are surrounded by large mesas and kind of like outcroppings of like
dirt.
They're not quite mountains.
No, they look like dirt.
Yeah, it's
like
giving them too much credit to call them mountains.
But they are tall.
Yeah.
They are tall like mountains.
Yes.
But they don't look rocky. They look like piles of dirt.
It's like if someone was digging a hole
Really selling the Mojave.
and piling up the dirt, but the hole was like 6,000 feet deep.
Yeah, it's absurdly large. And also the wind goes from being completely nothing to this, which is wonderful. And we've done all we can to stop it. So you're just gonna have to suck it in. It's part of the rich experience of us being out here recording in the Mojave. I guess we should probably, I don't know, make some sort of reference to why the fuck we are out here. Because, like, literally, to continue the picture, you're looking at the monitor with, like, very worried eyes. Is the wind terrible?
No, I was just making sure. I'm just, as the wind is picking up, I'm responding dynamically to the situation. It's the producer in me. There's always a part of my brain that has to be aware of the audio levels, the exposure. Luckily, there's no camera here.
Well, that's what we always say, isn't it? It's like, what is it? You can fix bad video, but you can't fix bad audio.
That's true. Although the tools have come a long way.
That's true.
You can fix bad audio to some extent.
The noise cancelling wizards over at NVIDIA or whatever. I don't know what weird cosmic horrors they're conducting over there to get rid of noise cancellation. But sorry, to continue the picture, both of our cars are here. We're in what is known as a sort of dispersed camping site, which is almost an oxymoron, because dispersed camping means you can just camp anywhere.
Yeah.
And there is a campground somewhere around here, like north of us we went to, but this is not a campground. This is just like somebody drove in here once before, so there's like a sort of a dirt road into it.
Yeah, it's basically just a turnout. It's basically just like a dirt wash with a turnout and like a fire ring and a bunch of shotgun shells.
Oh, I didn't notice those.
I went for a little walk this morning to use the restroom in the desert, as one does, and
which means paint a picture.
I was trying not to sit on a cactus. We'll leave it at that. And I saw a variety of shotgun shells. Whoever was shooting out here, they didn't just bring one type of ammo. There's white shells, blue shells, red shells. It was a veritable Resident Evil.
It was a real Mario Kart situation. It sounds like
it was nice. Yeah, maybe they had like a festive birthday party with shotgun shells as party favors.
Might have been someone's quinceañera.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because there's not really much to shoot at out here in terms of animals. This morning we were woken up by coyotes howling.
Yeah, very close.
Really close. I feel like if it happens tonight, tomorrow, we need, because now we know we both got woken by it, we need to like jump into action and see if we can get some film out or a picture or something, if we can see them.
Or if we can like tame it and befriend it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It could be our little buddy.
That's a possibility.
Bring it back to Oakland.
Yeah, it could be our mascot.
Yeah.
I don't know. A coyote doesn't really make sense for a mascot for video game documentaries, but we could make it work.
Yeah. Call it something video game related.
Yeah.
Like Shodan. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Shodan.
Couldn't think of the famous dogs. Dog meat.
Oh, that's good. That's
Fallout,
good. That
yeah.
at least makes more sense than like an omniscient AI for a coyote.
Pathetic creature of meat and bone. So yeah, sorry, our two cars are here. We're currently underneath. I have a rooftop tent on my Jeep Wrangler, which is also providing us the only shade basically available for, like, I don't know, 5 miles in both directions at least.
Yeah.
So that's quite. And sorry, I should say your car as well is providing shade. But we'd have to lie on the ground probably to get most of it.
To a lesser extent, it's providing shade. It's providing enough shade for maybe like if you were sitting cross-legged alone behind it.
Right, which you don't really want to do behind a car. That's dangerous. So much. We paused it last night. I locked my car before I went to bed on the rooftop tent. And you said, yeah, because if somebody fucking tried to drive away with you on top, I can't think of anything more terrifying. Because this fucking ladder situation, the whole thing would like yaw and like once you hit the highway, I'd be fucking dead meat.
Oh yeah, you would fly off. Oh, but if you could hold off long enough, you could apprehend the thief.
Climb into the Jeep.
Yeah, he'd have to stop eventually for gas.
What game was that where you could jump into moving cars? I guess Just Cause
That sounds right.
did a lot of that. You jumped into a car. You could jump into airplanes and kick them out of it and shit.
Yeah, little does that thief know that you've played Just Cause and are prepared to apprehend him in an extreme manner.
I think the main. I don't. This might actually sound racist if it's wrong, but I'm pretty sure the main character in that is called Rico Rodriguez.
Oh, really?
I think so. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I think it is.
I've never played those games.
There was an era of those like early aughts characters. Like there was another game called Total Overdose, where you had this emergence of these like charismatic Latin American protagonists. But that game was really weird. It was like you were blowing up petrol stations. It was almost like do you remember The Club? I'm really going down a tangent now, which is a video game where you basically had to like just keep your multiplier up. You were just like shooting people, but you need to get more people to shoot. Bulletstorm kind of did it too. So did this Total Overdose. It was just a weird like subgenre of keep shooting shit. Like dance games got popular. I don't know.
I love the name Total Overdose.
Total Overdose
is a real statement.
Overdose is not, overdose is setting the stage that something has been done to a severe, more than was required.
Yeah, there's not much of a gradient between overdose and,
What's after overdose,
and
Jeremy?
death. Yeah,
Yeah.
total overdose.
Total.
It feels a little redundant. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now I'm worried it's not called that because we've said it so many times that it doesn't
it's
sound
lost
like
all meaning.
Total Overdose.
Total overdose.
In my head it was Total Carnage, but it wasn't Total Carnage, and it definitely had Overdose.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Eat chili and die.
Yeah. Anyway, the wind is gone now.
Yeah, hell yeah. Audio
that.
conditions are improving and morale alongside it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm just thinking about Jesse editing this. Thank you, Jesse.
I would love if Jesse is a wizard of audio technical know-how, and so I can see a world in which this podcast just sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, it's so
rain.
windy out here.
Oh, I can't believe I did it as well, because literally the thing that I hate about podcasts more than anything else when people talk about doing the podcast, like, oh, my microphone's not great, or oh, I fucking turned up late, or I don't have my notes. I do feel like the fact that we're like, I don't know, dozens of miles from civilization perhaps gives us a little bit of leeway in that respect.
Yeah.
Like we need to set the stage. Did you explain why we're here? Because I've realized we haven't even, why the fuck are we here?
Yeah, so we have put together a documentary about Black Mesa, which, if you're not familiar with Black Mesa, it is a remake of the original Half-Life that started as a fan remake, and then at some point was
It was a mod, first of all, right?
Yeah. And then was given the blessing by Valve to be a full-blown Half-Life game unto itself, essentially. But it's a fantastic game. Highly recommend you play it, whether or not you've played the original Half-Life. And we did a documentary about it, interviewed a bunch of the folks from Crowbar Collective who made it, and we figured it would be proper to do something kind of big and bombastic to celebrate it and enhance the documentary, especially because it is almost 2.5 hours long. And it's a good 2.5 hours. It's like it's really entertaining. It was a fun one to edit. It was very challenging to edit, but it's yeah. So we just had to do it proper.
Yeah, it's almost like this project has taken so fucking long, not unlike the subject matter, that it sort of made sense to, I don't know, not like phone in the stand-up. So the bits where I'm talking to camera basically, for these things. I did these interviews. When was it? Was it January? Was it December 2020 or something? I think it was something like that. It was post-pandemic, but it was like but further than is respectable for this. Jeremy did the edit on this one. I gave him all the footage and was like, look, it's only 4 interviews. I don't know how long it'll be. Frank is going to record all the gameplay, just throw it together in some way. And then Jeremy made this like absolutely what I think is our most watchable doc ever. And I guess I'm a huge fucking Half-Life fan, so that's always going to be the case. But like, it's so like Moorish. It's the fastest 2 hours and 15 minutes currently, might get longer, that I've ever watched from Noclip. And I can say that because I didn't edit it. So I've been chopping away at it for the past month. I was away for a lot of that, so I added in some of the stuff. Jeremy had a whole section of like, here are some cool bits that I didn't put in because I didn't want to make your life even harder, but maybe some of them you'd like to put back in, and I put back in 1.5 of them. And then I did the voiceover and stuff, but like there's very little voiceover. The voiceover is very, because the structure of it is very much in like, here are the 6 things we're going to talk about, so it's only a little bit of VO. But yeah, for the stand-ups, we did that Half-Life doc and we had so many good stand-ups in that one that it was kind of like, I'm sick of, it's been 2 years of this, I'm sick of recording it in my bedroom. Like, let's go somewhere that looks vaguely Half-Life-y. And then it turns out that the closest place was 500 miles away.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's like, I don't know. That was part of the, like, obviously part of the appeal of going around and interviewing people for the Noclip projects is that we got to go to these places and like talk to these people, and like hang out their studio and get like a sense of their, culture and stuff like that. But like company culture, like at these development companies. But also I think something that we lost without being able to travel is like, there's just something like cinematic and exciting about like filming on location in a weird place for these things. It adds like, I don't know. There is something to be said for like having a little razzle dazzle, especially at the top of a 2.5 hour documentary. I just think like opening on you in a scientist coat in the desert is like appropriately bombastic.
We've done the whole thing. I got a lab coat. I got the same color shirt and tie that they wear in Black Mesa. I wore my glasses. I had some white pants, but they did not want to fit on me. COVID's been rough. It's been 2 years now. I have to stop saying COVID's been rough. I just eat too much delicious food. I think that's the problem.
Just eating a pizza, you're like, yeah, man, this COVID.
So yeah, I know.
Oh God, I just gotta eat this whole pizza.
Only I could stop eating with COVID. Is just fucking hell. I just like, what did I just eat? 500 calories of
you ate a bag of biscuits and gravy, if I'm not mistaken.
Fucking what do you call it? Not freeze dried. What is it? It's
I think it is freeze dried.
Dehydrated.
Yeah.
Or what would you call it? Yeah.
The pad thai we had for breakfast was freeze dried.
Yeah, you're right. Freeze dried. Yeah. So it's just like there's no water in it, so you just got to pour boiling water in it in a bag.
We're basically astronauts.
Yeah. My wife did get me an ice cream sandwich, which presumably I don't have to pour boiling water over.
I'm so curious what the situation is with that. Yeah. I think it'll be like, did you ever have when I was a kid, we'd go on like field trips to like the Museum of Science, and there would be astronaut ice cream in the gift shop?
No, Ireland didn't have astronauts.
Okay, well, you were missing out. Probably the best product to come out of NASA innovation is the freeze-dried ice cream. Oh. It's actually not that great. It's kind of gritty and weird.
How do you eat it? Is it just, you just eat it?
Yeah, it's just like dry. It's just like a dry
scream.
Dry scream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's presumably what's in that.
Yeah.
Because it's just what we call an iceberger. What do you call them? Ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably just like a cube of dehydrated cream and 2 very dry cookies.
Yeah, sell me on it.
Yeah. And then enjoy the sumptuous flavors of dry cream cube.
Well, thankfully we bought lots of other stuff. I'm looking at some beers that I have hiding under my car right now from the sun. And I did, because I have a Goal Zero, which is like a battery pack that you can use to charge like other batteries for cameras, for instance. I'm vlogging a lot of this and I have to charge the batteries that go in my little ZV9, what is it? ZV1? I forget, the Sony little vlogging camera. Also, I figured if we had enough battery by the last night, I did bring a monitor and a PlayStation 4, which recently had Elden Ring installed on it. So we may play some Elden Ring in the desert, which I think is about the stupidest thing we could possibly have chosen to do. And also, like, the one thing I wanted to do was play more Elden. The one reason I didn't want to go on this trip, and probably you too, was I just wanted to play more Elden Ring.
Yeah, so we originally planned this trip for last week, which we couldn't get here
yeah.
because Tehachapi, which is like the crossover point on the southern tip of the Sierras, it was snowing there, and the road conditions were really bad. Like bad enough that there were like 8 highway closures on the road.
And it was probably freezing up here as well.
Yeah, it was also like at least 15 degrees colder here. Which, you know, it was chilly last night. It was comfortable, but like 15 degrees colder would have been rough.
Yeah,
but we were originally slated to leave on the day that Elden Ring came out, and
you're right.
I wasn't gonna say anything. Wasn't gonna, you know.
Well, I'm the asshole because I've been playing it for a week. Because I got an early code, so I
Listen,
was going to rip you away
I
from
am
it.
dedicated enough to our cause that I never was going to mention it, but the truth comes out here on the podcast where I can be my true self.
No wonder the minute that snow dropped, you were texting me. Oh, I don't know, man.
Just,
don't know if we can do it.
and you're like, the highway's open. I'm like, yeah, but bad vibes though, right? I've checked. My astrologer said the vibes were still bad out there though.
I was looking at the weather app going like, shit, it's going to be like -4 degrees. No, not Fahrenheit, centigrade, -4. And I was like, that's maybe a little bit more than I'd like if we, let's go next week.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There was still snow on the ground as we were crossing the Sierras, just a little bit, but
Dusting.
there was a little snowpack up there. So, but we made it.
We did.
We're
we
out
made
here.
it. We pretty much filmed almost everything. We've two of the stand-ups. There's like 10 bits. They're not very long. 8 of them we got done. And we've been doing this for years now, so the two of us have a good sort of like, we're pretty fast at pulling it in. Jeremy's able to find the shots really good. I don't think I take as many takes as I used to. Still take a lot. But then we have 2 of them left for today or tonight, and then what else we're gonna do? Maybe record a patron show. Maybe record some Elden Ring. Just chill out, but better than the first day because it took 8 hours to drive here. Which is a lot for one day.
Because I'm farther north than you, it took me about 9.
Oh yeah.
It was a long day of driving. One of the longer days of driving I've done in my life. I think that's like the upper limit of what I've driven in a day.
It just doesn't help that like the central. I said this on the vlog when I was driving up. I had done 10 hours was the most I'd ever driven in one day, and it was Oakland to I think it was Eugene, Oregon. And it was like beautiful because like the drive like through Northern California is gorgeous up to Mendocino National Forest, and then you see was it Mount Shasta, right? You see all that sort of stuff, and then you get into the woods, and Oregon is like a totally different type of wood. It's way more like dark, and you know there's like logging shit, and it's like interesting. But like Central California,
Oh, it's rough, dude.
Boy.
Yeah, and then like your reward for reaching the like turnoff point is Bakersfield. And then you're like, oh well, now I can cross the Sierras, and then you land in like Barstow.
Yeah,
like it's just a real tour of just like I no hate on any of if you live in any of those places. This is not a personal slight against you.
Yeah,
just they're not tourist destinations,
and the roads between them are just like not like it's just flat.
Yeah,
and like some of it's more green than it is most of the year probably because it's February, or I guess it's March now, but late February. But it's all produce, a lot of crops.
It's bleak, dude. Although I'll give a positive and a negative here. I'll negative first was you have to drive by the place in Central California where they house like 6 billion cows.
Oh yeah,
and it is the smell is indescribable.
I couldn't tell if that's where we'd passed, because I know that when we pass it on the way to the Grapevine, which is on a different road, right? Is that on 5?
I don't know. What's the Grapevine?
Grapevine's the mountains into LA.
Oh,
because it's right before there. I think we passed a different one.
yeah. Well, maybe the one that you've described to me in the past is a different one, but there is a huge cow farm on the way
Yeah,
here, and it's rough.
I love the smell.
Do you really?
Only because it transported me back to being a kid on my uncle's farm.
I grew up like next to a farm,
Right.
and like there's like manure smell when there's like Farmer Joe has like 6 cows and he uses the manure to like whatever. This is an industrial amount
Yeah.
of cow shit.
It wouldn't go away. It was
Yeah.
like smelly for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I closed my windows to try and trap it out, but I trapped it in, and then I had to wait until I was passed by to let it out again. I had
You hotboxed yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Dutch
But
oven.
on the other side was there was a bunch of almond trees which were in
Ooh.
full bloom on the drive down here. I don't know if you noticed.
I would not be able to pick an almond tree out of a nut tree lineup.
I wouldn't either, but as I was passing by wondering what all these flower trees, because like, no one's growing industrial flower trees
Yeah.
in that quantities. But towards the end, when I was almost by Bakersfield, there was a sign that said like something almond farm, and there was just like all of these. They kind of look like cherry blossoms.
Lots of interesting signs. I passed Jane Road,
Yeah, hell yeah.
which is pretty good.
Spelled the way my name is spelled,
Yeah.
which is rare.
Right,
The
is it
Y,
rare?
the Y in the middle of Jane is uncommon.
So even as a surname, Jane is around?
Yeah,
Okay.
much more common. Jayne is rare. In fact, if there's any Janes out there listening to this,
Yeah,
hit
shout
me up.
out.
We're probably related.
Shout out to all the Janes.
Yeah.
I passed through Baghdad, California, which was pretty fucking. That was rough. I don't think a lot of people moved to Baghdad, California. I think a lot of people moved out, and some of them didn't, and it was looking ripe. There was a Baghdad hotel, or maybe it was motel, that looked like something out of Burning Man. It looked so strange. I couldn't tell. It was like, because most of the houses there were like folks living on like prefab houses on stilts kind of stuff, like that type of thing. And a couple of ones that were like kind of industrial, like maybe they were doing some farm work or something. But it seemed like a rough place to grow up. I'm not surprised if there aren't too many folks around. But the hotel was like kind of like, I don't know how to. We're in this weird part of Nevada where it's like not really the direct road to Vegas. I think Route 66 is close though.
Yeah, that's where. So we just went to the gas station to fuel up, and that was right on Route 66 at the junction.
Right, the Route 66 was right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think like I wonder if some of these places were a bit more lively before, because the main drive is north of Mojave, right, to Vegas.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super close to Arizona, and then I don't know what the fastest road. I don't know if you would have turned off before if you were going to
Or left at
Vegas.
Barstow instead of right.
Yeah, I think you would have gone along the north side of the Mojave instead of the south side.
That's the whole we're in bat country shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Fear and loathing.
I almost texted you and said make sure you pick up Tobey Maguire.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They don't quite have the soft top or the convertible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if some of these places were maybe got a little bit more action before or something, or maybe they didn't. But it's that type of vibe. It's like the whole in like Fallout New Vegas, the big dinosaur outside the gas station thing. We're like, they're doing anything to like get people to come in. Like that petrol station we went to earlier is called, what was it,
Naja's Oasis.
Oasis. And
Yeah.
they have like fucking flamingos with like fountains and shit. And then you go in and all they're doing is, it's just a regular store with like, they're selling some Route 66 fridge magnets. And it's like, but like just to get you in, it has gas written in huge words sticking on pikes. Did you see those?
Yeah.
On the way in, yeah, you're just like,
Yeah, that cracked me up. The Oasis too was like, it's like too kind of weird, like the aesthetic of an in-ground swimming pool, but like very shallow. Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's like it's that's one of the fun things about just driving to the middle of nowhere is like seeing the weird sort of like micro cultures that have sprung up in places where they're like, what can we do to get people to like pull off of the highway on their 19-hour drive and stop here?
where like the almost threatening road signs of like last gas for 50 miles. You know what I mean? And you're like,
stop here or you're fucked.
Shit. Like, yeah, because like if you ran out of gas here, like I'll say that like I am infinitely more chill about all of this because you're here too with a car as well.
Same.
Because like, yeah, like the idea of like, if you ran out of fucking gas out here, like I guess the closest place we could go to would be to walk up to that campsite.
Yeah.
But that's like, How fucking far is that? That's a walk. An hour? More?
God,
It's a 20-minute drive.
It probably like at least a couple hours walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been like.
In
I
this
hope you have a
sun.
lot of water and some shade if
Yeah.
that's the case.
I brought like 3 gallons of water just in case.
Yeah, I brought 6.
Got 3 gallons of Blue Moon sitting in front of me here. Some White Claws. You 6?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
2 gallons per day is my like overkill. A gallon per day is like a good amount, but you know.
You just got to prepare for the worst when you come out here because it's.
Yeah.
But at least there's no animals, or like we're not worried about coyotes. But
That's my favorite thing about camping in the desert is you don't have to worry about bears. I don't think there are mountain lions.
you'd see. Well, would you see them coming? I guess not.
I don't
There's a
know.
lot of brush.
Yeah.
I hope there's not mountain lions because there's nothing for them to eat.
Yeah,
so
true.
Except us.
Yeah, we're gonna be full of Blue Moon and bagged biscuits and gravy.
I've seen like hardly any animals.
Yeah.
Have you? Did you? I saw one lizard when we were doing the stand-ups earlier.
I saw some birds, and that's about it. I mean, it's pretty desolate out here. It's not much to live off of.
And we should also kind of. I think one thing that like I didn't really get about. I guess it's not all deserts, but it's a lot of the deserts in California and Arizona is that we're really high. Like this is 3,500 feet above sea level.
Oh yeah,
So it's like, with that in itself brings a bunch of like weirdnesses to like the cloud cover or the like the temperature or the sunsets. It's super dry as well up here. It's like, it's a different type of desert heat than I would have imagined.
yeah. It's a very bizarre climate. And in fact, I've like deserts at different altitudes are really interesting. Like, have you ever been to the high desert near Flagstaff in Arizona?
Well, we're not that far though, right?
No, we're not that far. But it's like
Is Sedona kind of like that?
a little bit. Yeah.
It's kind of high desert. That's
Yeah.
where we filmed the Half-Life documentary stuff for people who will remember that one.
If you keep going north from there,
Not to be confused with the Black Mesa documentary. It's just-
which is also filmed at Mesas. Yeah, in a way, this is like we're making it like a spiritual successor in a way.
100%. I think that is actually our longest single video.
Yeah, it probably is,
It's an hour and 50.
and it's probably the one with the most views.
Yeah, it's up to what? God, I don't know. Is it like?
It's like 5 million,
6
something.
million or
Yeah,
something?
It's a lot.
I guess the Final Fantasy stuff, you added it together, might be
Oh yeah,
close to that.
yeah.
But yeah. So it is a spiritual. But sorry, you were saying Flagstaff, right?
Yeah. I was just gonna say that the high desert up there has the same vibe as the starting zone in World of Warcraft for the Tauren race.
Oh yeah, 100. Right.
Redfall? Not Redfall. That's the game that Arcane is working on. What is
Yeah.
it?
Red Bluff.
Red Bluff.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. That it
So that red rock kind of
Yeah.
desolate.
and kind of like very dry, like abundant grasses but dry. Yeah, if you're ever in north of Flagstaff, it's got WoW starting zone vibes.
So is this? I mean, I feel like there's too much brush here for this to be barrens. You know what I mean?
no.
It's not.
No, this is like
The
this
internet's
is like
too bad for barons chat to work here.
yeah, this is more like that level 40ish zone that was like the desert. I can't remember the name. It's been-
Thousand Needles or
something like that. Yeah, I went on
Tanaris.
that might be it.
Tanaris might be. Tanaris is like a salt flat. So that's kind of like, what's that? Mono Lake or around
Yeah.
there. There's a couple of salt flats, right? Around
Totally.
There?
Yeah, I have you know Geoguessr where you like
Yeah.
do
I love
the
that thing. Dude, I got way into YouTubers who geoguess. So like archives of really good pro geoguessers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like them trying to do like these crazy, like trying to hit 5,000 points and that shit. Like that's the max you can get or something. It's
I've only seen a little bit of it, but a friend of mine sent me recently. There is a World of Warcraft Geoguessr,
oh my god, you're kidding me.
and it is so hard. Like you would think, I played, like whatever 1,000 hours of World of Warcraft, so I was like, oh, easy. And you can put like I stopped playing around Burning Crusade, so I was like,
Right.
I'll be able to just like put it on vanilla mode and like easy. Like I remember that so well. And you go and it's just like a dark field and there's like a panther and you're like, this could be like 600 different places. And it's so unforgiving when you drop the pin. I got one and I was so close. I was like, I this is gonna be the only one I get. And I dropped the pin and it was like, no, I'm sorry, it was like 10 feet away from there, the same. And I was like, dude,
Oh, really?
come on. Like,
Do they not give you like point? Because GeoGuessr, they give you points based on how close you are.
oh, maybe it did.
Yeah, so it's like you'll you'll get like more points the closer you are.
Yeah.
And if you're super far away, you'll get like hardly any.
I didn't get any right, so I don't even know what the point system.
Man.
I was so bad at it that I don't even know how they score it.
What's the gimme? Duskwood would
Yeah.
be like. There's no other place I feel like that looks.
Yeah, if it was like if I saw like a river and there was a big like proto like pudge from Dota running along it, I would be like, I know exactly where this is.
Fresh meat!
Yeah, weirdly enough, like the Elwyn Forest kind of doesn't get replicated. That whole dwarfen starting zone, I think I know it because I started so many dwarfs, but like it's all just like snowy.
Yeah.
So it all looks the same, like Dunmora, I think it's called. Yeah, but you didn't just get like Stranglethorn might be easy too. That's all
Yeah.
just jungle. I don't know. if
Booty
there's many-
Bay. I feel like I could pick out Booty Bay on my worst day. I'd still be able to pick that.
But all that stuff that's on that middle island, I don't think I did much of that.
Yeah, no.
You know, the fucking whatever it is, the Goblin area.
Yeah.
And then all the Outland stuff. I mean, I'd just be like, oh, that's out. Like, oh, it's floating shit. How do they do it? Is it? It's a photograph, is it? It's like a picture.
Yeah, it's like Geoguessr. You can like look around in
Oh, cool,
360,
okay.
but it's only from one stuck
You can't
point.
move around or anything.
Yeah.
You can't like walk up and down
Oh
the
yeah, I guess
street.
in Geoguessr you can move around and stuff. No,
But
this
the
is
pros turn that off.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because they're so hardcore.
This is pro mode, so it's they stick you and you see like a pillar and a tree, and they're like, good luck.
What's the game world if you were to play a Geoguessr of that you would like? No.
That's a really good question. I feel like I could pick out any zone in Diablo 2, but I feel like that's kind of an easy answer because there's 4 acts and they're all kind of like distinct
Right.
looking. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have one that comes to mind?
No, I was trying to. All that's coming to mind is how I'm constantly in Elden Ring looking at a different part of Elden Ring and being like, oh, that's where that's connected to from here. Like I didn't know where that, or like, and constantly in Elden Ring finding new parts of Elden Ring. The game just doesn't seem to bloody stop.
It's such a big
so
game.
big,
I won't say any detail about it because I want people to go in totally unspoiled because it's so good. But like, I mean, I'm only like 25 hours in, but I recently had something happen where I was like sent to a new place so far away
Right.
from where I've been, and I was just like,
You're like, what?
this is baffling. Like I thought I'd explored like at least 30% of this map, and then it was like, oh no, what if the map was like bigger than you could ever imagine?
It's so wild. So there will definitely be people who are where it is for that. I wonder for me, I would have thought it was something like GTA 3, but I played that version they put out last year, and I realized that like outside of that first area, like when you get across whatever the bridge is, the Staunton Bridge or whatever, I couldn't remember a lot of that. Like I didn't know it as well as I thought I would. And Vice City's the same way. I feel like GTA 4 I have a pretty good hold on.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's like I feel like those worlds are the remarkable parts of them are kind of like they're like landmark based. Like any of the landmarks in a GTA world, I feel like I could identify, but then everything between them is kind of just like a little more generic or something.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of open worlds kind of don't. I think maybe it's just a problem with like creating games that are based around like urban sprawl. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to make any of this look unique. I feel like 5 did a decent job of that, but they're just so big and you spend so long driving from place to place just trying to get there.
I never beat 5 because my PlayStation died and I lost my save data
Oh,
for
that's
it.
killer.
And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna like. There's so much driving involved. There's no way I'm gonna play like the first 25 hours of this game again.
Yeah, Red Dead would be the same problem.
Yeah,
where like,
totally.
Yeah, and I couldn't. Yeah, I got a good sense of the map in Red Dead actually more than other Rockstar games because you can't really rely on that. They keep you in spots for longer. Like they kind of have you in like one area of the map for a long time, and then the caravan moves to another area. So you kind of get a good sense of those pockets pretty good. Yeah, I want to go back and play that on PC or whatever now. Yeah, I don't know what game. It's probably something stupid like fucking Tony Hawk's. Like, I could probably get within like a meter of basically anywhere in a Tony Hawk's game.
I remember like
But that doesn't count.
there was like a couple times I went on a family vacation as a kid, and like me and my brother were like, oh yeah, that's that in San Francisco. And my parents were like, you're like 12. How the hell do you know that? I was like, oh, this is a Tony Hawk. It's like Fisherman's Wharf is
Embarcadero level or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
The first time I was ever in America, I think I've told you this before, was for Call of Duty XP, which was the event they used to do in Los Angeles. And GameSpot, I were working at GameSpot UK for a couple of months, and Ryan McDonald somehow fandangled a way to get me to fly over to like to help the video team for like no reason except like he was just being cool and wanted to get me over. And I'd never been in the States before, and we stayed in a hotel south of LAX, and they had a night where all of the like European PR people were getting together with the European journalists, I mean. And I like pieced out and just went down to Venice Beach and went down and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly like Tony Hawk's 2. Like it's like I could see like all the bowls and like the lips and the little mini ramps and stuff. It was all like, holy shit, this is it. And then I got drunk with a Navy vet who brought me to a burlesque bar. It was a real like welcome to America kind of day.
Hell yeah. Did you show him any sick tricks where you're like, listen, there's a really good combo rail up here.
Oh my God, I wish. No.
If you grind this, you could kick flip up to the awning above it.
Could you imagine? It's like the best dude who could skate in our town was like the newbie of Venice Beach. They were all just like doing like 3 trick lines like it was nothing.
That's why the storyline of Tony Hawk Underground was so satisfying, because you're like a nobody from Jersey who like has like superhuman abilities, and then like the second level, if I recall correctly, is you go to Manhattan and everyone is like a douchey skater who's like, wait, you think you like Jersey like no-shows could just come up here and like skate with us?
Why you beaming? You want a date or something?
I stopped dating dwarfs last week.
Take your soggy mob flips back to Jersey, tweakers.
And then you're like, watch this. And you do like 600 backflips. And just like it's like there's something particularly satisfying about just like doing something to a superhuman level in a sport where like, yeah, like you said, like the average skateboarder is like 1% of the talent of the. If you go to like a big city, like I used to skateboard a lot when I was a teenager, and I hated going to the skate park.
Oh my God.
Because even my local skate park was like, oh my God, like these kids are like making me look like a fool.
It's insane. And like I was watching the I guess it was the Olympics. Were the Olympics last year, the year before? Winter Olympics were this year. Was the Olympics last year? I forget.
Is it might be off? Is it offset by 2 years? Because they're both every 4 years?
That's what I would have thought, but maybe it's really upsetting and it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. Maybe I was watching some World Championships. It wasn't the X Games. But yeah, I was watching like it was the women's street stuff. I feel like it was last summer. I was watching women's street stuff, and women's street has basically like sort of come on like leaps and bounds in the past 4 or 5 years. Apparently, I didn't know this. So basically, they had like all of the competitors were like 14-year-olds, like just these like 14-year-old girls who were like insanely good. Like it might as well have been like if I had done that in one of the skate games, like I would have saved that replay. Like it was that good, and they're just doing it, and you're like, this is, and they're so young, and it's just like, and something about kids doing it as well just makes it look more impressive. It's like
rocket power.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that was like my dream. Was like that's why I used to like practice doing kick flips in my front yard for like hours on end, because I was like, someday I'll just ramp up into like a superhuman Tony Hawk level of ability. It just never happened for me.
I was watching snowboard videos on the plane to Ireland when I was going back to see my family, and there was a whole section where they were just snowboarding in a city and like doing rails and shit.
What?
And I was like, oh yeah, of course. It's like baby steps for them, because it's just like, they're just, I mean, it's still really difficult and hard, and sorry, I shouldn't be making it sound easy, but like, yeah, they were just like going down, like, because like these towns where like it snows, like Chicago or something, or where it snows and the snow's there forever, and they're just, but they were in Eastern Europe somewhere, and it was like, yeah, just like doing these crazy jumps, like multi-rail tricks, because they were able to just be, it's significantly easier to do a rail slide or a board slide or a 5.0 or whatever. I guess it'd be a 5.0 in a or 50-50 on a snowboard than it is on something that can leave your feet. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like,
True.
but also landing is probably like 10 times worse because
Yeah.
you've got this fucking thing stuck to your feet.
I had an overinflated sense of confidence as a young snowboarder that led to me putting a fracture
That's
in
that's
my
how you hurt
fifth
your
vertebrae.
back, right?
Yeah, I was like, hey, watch me destroy this rainbow rail.
What did you do? Was it a rail?
Yeah, it was a rainbow rail, like one of the ones that like arcs upward. And at the apex of it, I was I mean, this was like a million years ago. I don't remember super distinctly, but if I recall correctly, I was grinding it, and then I tried to like pivot, and my board slipped out from under me, and I landed on my back.
No,
on
sideways
the
like.
apex of the rail,
boy.
and so I just bent over backwards and instantly blacked out.
Really?
Instantly blacked out. And like came to like a few seconds later on the ground in front of the rail, and all my friends were like, "Dude, are you dead?" And I like couldn't get up. It was bad, dude.
How did you get down the mountain?
Luckily it was my like local Ski Bradford. Shout out Ski Bradford. It's a very small hill.
Okay.
But it's funny because like there are like difficult trails. They just last for like 5 seconds.
Right.
So you're just like, this is crazy, and then it's over.
Dude, that's what it was like when I went snowboarding in that indoor one in Dubai.
Oh shit!
Where it's just like, it takes 5 minutes to get up and you come down in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's silly. But anyway, go on.
No, I just
So
like
you could just get down.
I slid. I was
Yeah.
basically at the bottom of the hill.
Oh my god.
And then it's kind of hazy from there. I think I like just laid there, and they got like the medical guy from the medical tent, and I could like walk and everything, but I was devastated. Yeah, so then I ate a bunch of fried dough and called it a day.
Have you ever snowboarded since?
I have, yeah. I haven't snowboarded in a long time, but I used to go a lot. I used to really enjoy it. But yeah, it's kind of an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
It's like $100 for a lift ticket.
Yeah, lift tickets are like no joke. And we were looking at doing we went up to Tahoe because my kid's school had a COVID thing that like closed it. Like one of the teachers' husbands got COVID and they shut it for the week. And I was like, having a kid is like, when they're home, you kind of can't just pawn it off on, I'm really lucky my wife is a stay-at-home mom, but you also can't just like say, okay, you mind her for like 7 days or whatever. It's like kind of not fair. So I was like, oh, let's go up to Tahoe. I can work from there, and also we'll do family shit and it'll be fun. But we went up to one of the places and I was like, looking at like just like day pass. She can't do anything, right? I was like, what'll it take to just like hit up? We're in Incline Village, just to hit up one of the slopes there. And because it's like 3 of us. It was like, and they were all expensive. It was like, fuck no. It was like, 300 and something quid for a day. You're like, I'm all right.
Crazy.
I'm all right.
And it's also like the types of vacations I like to go on by myself are usually like, I'll go and I'll spend some money, but then I'll like camp while I do it or something.
Right.
And it's like, you can't do that when there's like snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So it turns into like a
Right.
hotel with like meals and stuff. It's like, snowboarding is like, it's just an expensive hobby. So yeah, it's been a very long time for me, but I feel like if I got on a snowboard now, I would instantly be like, oh fuck, I'm old. Like I feel it would be the moment that it hit me full and proper that I was old. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only 31, but I'd be like, holy shit, I haven't done this since I was like a child, and now I'm old.
The ages between 31 and where I am now, 36, were the ones that like, maybe 33. Basically when I had a kid was when my body went, all right, old man, no fucking, you want to bend over for shit? I'm going to make you work for it. So now I got to do squats and shit like that. And I'm just never do it. Talking about snowboarding though, really taking my mind off the fact that we're in this sweltering heat.
Yeah. In fact, when I went to Kelso Dunes, which is not far from here,
Kelso Dunes.
Kelso Dunes, which I have to share this. They're singing dunes, which is one of the most interesting things I've ever witnessed in my life. I had heard about this. So basically, they're like, so the dunes are formed by wind. Like that's why there are dunes, is that the wind is blowing sand, the sand is piling up, forms the dunes. So in an interesting way, what the dunes are is essentially just the sand mapping a zone where the wind like congregates or something. All the wind blows towards there, collects the sand, etc. But an unanticipated consequence of that is that the wind blows over the ridge of the dune and plays it like a reed of an instrument.
Oh my God.
And it vibrates and it makes a
Okay.
noise. And the noise sounds like I went up there.
So can I guess it? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah, the dunes are very conspiratorial. You have to be like, listen, man, like this isn't the time for that. Like maybe we could discuss this later. My parents are visiting. No, but so you go up to the lip and you stick your feet in, and it doesn't always happen. So
Okay.
I didn't think I was gonna get to witness it, and then I heard a sound that I can only describe as the sound of an airplane going over your head, but it was under my feet. So like
You're standing on the tip of the dune,
yeah, which is like 200 feet in the air,
and
or
the
at
sound
least
is coming
underneath.
underneath.
So it sounded like
It's 200 feet in the air. So you have to climb up the thing,
yeah, this is like a long climb.
and it's one dune, or is there another one after that?
It's a
Another one
whole
after
series
that?
of subsequent dunes.
Okay.
Like so your brain instantly tries to like rationalize what's happening.
Right.
And so the experience I had was, oh, there must be like a train tunnel that goes under the Mojave.
Let me just explain to people. There's no fucking anything here.
Oh, yeah, it's the
could not.
middle of
We are
nowhere.
in the middle of nowhere here.
Yeah. So your brain tries to make up a nonsense explanation, and
That's amazing.
it was unbelievable. It was very, very strange, but
And how high were you when you did this?
very. But the sound was real. There was a real sound. And then so the reason that we had climbed the dunes was this is all tying it back to snowboarding, was we were going to try to sand sled.
Oh man, yeah, okay.
And so the apex of this day of ingesting some anomalous materials and climbing the dunes was to go sand sledding. And so it all builds up to this moment. We're having this beautiful day. Like the sinking dunes happens. We're like psyched, and I sit on my sled. And just nothing happened.
You just don't go down.
Just nothing. I couldn't. I don't know. I don't know if people like grease their sandboards or something,
Right.
but it was incredibly disappointing.
And you would like haul this thing up the hill.
Oh yeah, I stopped and bought a winter sled to sled down the dunes, and it just like I bought like one of those discs, those plastic discs, and it just
Oh yeah, one of those. Yeah.
and it just didn't do anything. So I had my friend like push me.
Where's this fucking bird coming from?
What's up, dude? It's Odin's
Hey,
raven.
what's up?
It's the
you-
only bird here.
And look, he's just doing a circle around us. He must be like,
He wants gravy.
what are you doing here? Do you have food? There's no one else here for like dozens of miles. He just came to say hey and went away.
Yeah, we should feed him
We should feed him. Do you have any? I have nothing to feed. I don't think I have any bread or anything.
granola. Did crows like granola?
Cronola. I don't know how you'd explain it to him. Like, come down here, like land.
Yeah, trust us.
It's not a vulture, right?
No,
Good.
no. I have a lot of vultures near my new house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something died in the street recently,
Oh,
and there
boy.
was like
Oh, boy.
there was like 7 vultures in the street,
Like
all like
Turkey vultures?
they're
or-
turkey vultures. Yeah. But they're all just like out there in the street, and I look out, and there's just a street full of like giant predatory birds, and it was like
Dude.
it was a very grim vibe.
Those things are mean looking.
Yeah, they're scary. They're like cool, and I mean you see them from afar, you're like, oh cool, big bird.
Yeah, I think they're chill as well, but like, they don't look it.
No, they're spooky looking.
Yeah, and they're always in groups too.
Yeah, they like now that I live in the middle of nowhere, I see them a lot, and it's funny because you can tell when there's something dead on the side of the road because they'll just like camp it out for like a week.
Really?
And I just imagine that it's like the people who like hang out in the fish lot, like follow jam bands around the
Oh,
country.
yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, man, like we go where the dead stuff's at.
Deadheads or
Yeah, they're
whatever.
deadheads,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're eating dead animals.
Dead animals. yeah.
Perfect, yeah. That's perfect. Full circle.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I don't know what the plan is for the rest of the evening. The sun is slowly making her way over to those mountains.
Yeah, it's cooling down a little bit. It feels much nicer. I mean, we're still in the shade, but it was hot. It was unbearably hot.
We're gonna film the stand-ups. We're gonna do some Elden Ring, and that's about it. And then this documentary will be, I don't know. Seems like it's pretty. So we're getting back on Friday. I'll offload the footage. You'll have to grade. There's a decent amount to grade with all the stuff with all the B-roll as well, and then get that over to me, and then I'll pop that in, and we'll have a 2-hour, 20-minute video for everyone on the team to watch and find all the fucking mistakes in. I think we might have it up for early access God, maybe like in a week's time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll definitely have the color for you early next week at the latest. So
I'm excited for this one.
me too, dude.
Yeah.
I'm psyched. Yeah, this was like I was chipping away at the edit for a long time because we were also like working on other projects at the same time.
Yeah.
So I would work on it for a big stretch and then take time off of it and then come back to
Oh,
it.
if ever there was a project you needed to like have step away time from this, because it's so big. It's
Dude,
just like,
I went was it Christmas break, Thanksgiving break? I had some holiday break where I was
Right.
like getting close to finishing it up, and then I like took some time off, and I just remember. Oh yeah, it was the holiday break because I remember coming back to it after New Year's and being like, oh God, I hope this still is good because I like,
Oh, yeah.
I
Can't,
can't just like reconfigure a 2-hour document. Like it was like getting perspective away from it is like what you need to assess it objectively. But I was terrified to see it objectively because I was like,
yeah,
this
what
better
if
be
it
good.
sucks?
Yeah, this better be good.
Spent a month on this already, and it's like, yeah, fuck,
But
yeah.
I'm psyched about it. I think it's one of our more interesting and cool and unique documentaries. So
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, not all say this all the time. They're all and they all come in different shapes and sizes, but like it's definitely like one of our best. To me it feels like there's so much like a lot of the time we really try and squeeze design chat and design like moments out of people, and sometimes it can be really fucking hard to get them because they want to talk broadly about games they've just made, you know, so it's hard for them to talk about like this gun or that level or this thing that happened. But for some reason, these guys, probably because they've been deconstructing Half-Life their entire fucking professional careers, and they're all very eloquent, that they were really able to get into the nitty-gritty of like, oh yeah, here's why we did this here. This is how we did this here. Here is here's this one this one valve from residue processing, which taught us about this thing that we then learned later in Zen. It's so particular.
yeah.
That it's like first of all, what a joy to edit that because they're basically pointing at the B-roll for you. They're saying
yeah,
like, this is
totally.
the thing we need to talk about. And also they gave us loads of like assets. Sent us a shitload of like concept art and videos and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Even some of the stuff I liked the most was just there was a few like little hand drawn maps and stuff like that. And
Yes!
it's really cool. I mean, especially because like I've been
Chris Horn's little like notebook he did of Zen.
Yeah.
Which is like the fucking scribblings of an insane person.
Dude, it's
It's
amazing.
so good.
It's also like there's something very inspiring about it because I think that there is this unconscious assumption in people who play games. At least I can only speak for myself, but I assume other people do this, where they play a game, see the polished final result, and they're like, I bet when they came up with this idea, it was like fully baked. Like I bet the
Right.
first drawing of like this character was like a really cool, like amazing piece of art. And then I just love when we get the story behind it, and it's like a napkin scribbling, and
Right.
it's like, yeah, this is where we came up with like one of the coolest ideas ever. And it's like, oh, that like it's inspiring to me because it makes me think that like when I have weird little one-off ideas that like you should just write down all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you never know what'll like spiral upward into something cool.
Yeah, which one germinates and it grows subconsciously for a while, and then like and the length of this project is clearly like part of the way that they were able to, you know, because they went back and fixed parts of the original Earthbound levels as well. And yeah, it's funny because I feel like there's two types of commenter whenever we post anything about this doc, and it's like a lot of people being like, oh, that's great, like this game has been like a part of my consuming media or consuming information about games life for a long time, because it was like 16 years whatever of this thing being around. And it's also like impossible for us to do a documentary which includes like everyone involved and all. It would just be like a nightmare, right? This thing's 4 fucking people and it's already 2.25 hours. But I feel like the other side is that people being like, oh, all they did was like remake the best game ever, which like, yeah, I can see how like if you knew nothing about this project and you just heard about it, you'd be like, yeah, I guess, think about an easier game to remake. It's a linear first-person shooter that is the most beloved of all time. But then, like, when you get into the nitty-gritty on it and you see all the stuff they had to figure out and, like, how they modernized this game so it doesn't feel like it came out in 1998. You know, it feels like a game that came out in, 2010 maybe or something like that. It's that modern type of one. Like, yeah, it's like anything. The more, I always feel like the sense that I always want people to have when they step away from one of our videos is like, like, oh, that was like harder for them to make that than I thought, or you know,
Totally. Yeah.
because the games are almost made to make you not think that.
Yeah, games
know?
are. It's like what we always say about editing, video editing. It's that like good editing is unnoticeable. Like in the same way that I can't remember where I heard this. I might have heard this in film school or something. But like if you're seeing your eyeball, then like something is wrong. You have like glaucoma or something.
Right.
The eyeball is designed to be like self-erasing.
Yes.
Like if it's
Or the
functioning,
nose as well, or yeah,
totally, exactly. And like good video editing is like that. And I also think like good game design is like that a lot of the time. I mean, occasionally there's something in game design where you'll notice and be like, "Oh, that's clever." But I think most of the time, other than some of those exceptions, you're just experiencing it as this seamless kind of thing, because that's the point. It's supposed to be this thing that like absorbs you.
It's like a magic trick, or it's like telling a story or a magic trick where like the minute the audience remembers they're the audience, you sort of lost them. And you're right, like so there are certain movies, for instance, where like the editing is explicitly done to arouse that type of feedback of like making you feel like a voyeur, or making you feel like that there's something happening that is to separate you from the piece you're watching. And games do it too, like Toby Scott stuff is kind of like very much like that, right? Like Undertale and that type of stuff. That's his name, right? Toby Scott? Toby Fox.
Toby Fox.
Toby Fox, sorry. His stuff is very like that too, where it's like that's part of the equation. But yeah, like most games are trying as hard as possible to like make sure that like Aloy's hair physics don't make you fucking realize it's a game, or you know the writing breaks here, or this person's stiff. And yeah, it's like, yeah, it's always fun when I think people can allow themselves to see how the puppet strings are or whatever. So this is a really good one. And like, massive thanks to you for doing such an incredible job in the edit. Huge thanks to those 4 guys for, they prepared really well for those interviews, because I kind of let them know the areas we were going to talk about, and they were really good formulated answers. And I think it shows in the edit, because we use so much of the bison, you know what I mean?
It was really hard to make cuts on this.
Yeah.
So the original way I edited it was essentially just edit together, because each interview was about 2-ish hours,
Right.
And so there was like a 6+ hour version of this documentary, and obviously it's not like a doc. It wasn't like there wasn't B-roll all over. There wasn't like music. It wasn't like polished or whatever. But I just like cut up all of the good parts and then assembled them into like chunks of related ideas. And then I was like, oh my God, this is gonna, like, this makes way more sense than a 6.5 hour like chunk of interviews should possibly make.
No, it's a problem.
It was really hard to pare down, because there are entire like design discussions that just got lost, because it's like it couldn't be like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have, but that would have been insane.
I do think, like, I think we need to get the version of this that like feels it's a good balance of it feeling, it's like Lord of the Rings without the extended cut thing. You know, it's like it's good. It doesn't need to be any longer. If you want to be self-indulgent, you're a huge Half-Life fan, you probably would like maybe the longer version of it. But I think it's important that we get this version out, and then I am kind of for taking a swing at like the redux, or deleted scenes, and kind of like if another 90 minutes hour pops out of this and it's like, here's all the stuff we didn't do.
Yeah, it's like
now I'm thinking we should like do stand-ups for that or something.
It's like the Apocalypse Now redux, where there's scenes of them just like having dinner
Yeah,
at like
exactly.
the French villa, like talking about what a bummer it is to lose colonialist power. Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, on that, I think we should take a rest, maybe offload some equipment. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. Thanks to Jesse for editing it. I'm not sure how much work was needed to be done on the wind or not, but shout out to him regardless. Thank you for sitting through it, and for funding this excursion, and for watching all of our videos, which means that we can come out and do this shit. I always feel good when we do this stuff, because it's like we're not just resting on our laurels. You know what I mean? This was hard.
Totally, because it's like the information content of the docs would be more or less the same whether we do it like remote. I mean, obviously there's like an element that changes when you're there in person.
You're right.
But we could get the hard facts about how a game was made and all of that stuff if we just like shot remote interviews. But there is like I don't know, it's like it makes it feel special.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like it's exciting to do, and I think it's like I think the extra effort is tangible. I think it can be felt in the finished product.
If 100,000 people are going to sit down and watch a 2.25 hour thing that we made, the least we can do is do a 1,000-mile round trip and live in our tents for a couple of nights. And on that note, it might be time also to crack open some of these. So we'll also relax while we're doing our work. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining me.
It's a pleasure as always.
Check out Jane Dev and all the other awesome stuff coming out on Noclip Crew in April. We are deep on this. We're also going to be doing a big funding push next week. And then we're launching the new channel in April, which will also have a big behind the scenes video that I've been filming here about us coming out and doing all this stuff. So you'll be able to see all our beautiful camping equipment and Jeremy boiling up some Cowboys coffee first thing in the morning. But until then, hope you're having a wonderful time. Sorry to take you away from Elden Ring for an hour. And we'll see you again next time on Noclip. Bye.
Bye.